Hi, I'm Emily.
And I'm Stephen.
And this is In A Barbie World.
The podcast where we look at every Barbie movie from 1987 to the present day.
From fairy tales to literary classics.
From Mariposa to Mermaidia.
It's time to get unboxed.
Readjust your lippy.
Rock the ball gown.
And let's get our Barbie on.
Barbie in A Mermaid Tale. Tale is spelt T-A-L-E. It could be spelt T-A-I-L.
Because she is literally in a mermaid's
tale
tale in some of this. So this is the reboot, the first reboot.
Phase 2.
Yeah, so I was reading up about this. They all seem to be done by the same animation studio, but it's considered the first reboot. We'll have two more before we might have an infinite number of more. We may never catch our own tails, like an Ouroboros, but or a Mermaid's Tale. But yes, so this is the first reboot. We've come off one of the greatest movies.
Oh. Number one on the leaderboard. It's literally number one.
Yeah, it is, and I fought as hard for it as others. So I came into this terrified.
I came in so hopeful. I was so full of optimism and hope, and I was so ready to forgive and try and allow.
Yeah, I'm thinking we may have slightly different opinions for once then.
My God, did it wear me down?
I thought it was all right. It wasn't the worst movie we've watched.
No.
I just thought it was okay. And I'm not going to lie, I'm looking forward to your précis of it because I couldn't follow all the characters. There were too many people that looked the same.
I had to pour myself a glass of wine for this episode. I was coming off the back of the Three Musketeers, and I was we open, we're in Malibu, and everyone's speaking like, whoa, and Barbie is like a surfer queen. She's queen of the waves. And there's what I initially thought was a brilliant pop song where it's like, she's queen of the waves. And it's great, and it's fun, and it's poppy the first time you hear it. And they have this little dance, and I literally wrote a note where I was like, "Ooh, yeah, I'm going to learn these dance moves." And I was so filled with optimism. And then Barbie's hair turns pink in the waves, and everyone treats her like she's now the Elephant Man. And it makes no sense. And then... So you know how you usually are like, at the beginning of the Three Musketeers, you were like, here are my 3 points of negativity that I'm gonna highlight for this movie. I've got about 3 points of positivity.
Okay.
I like that for once we have a granddad who raised her. We have a male figure that raised her. That's odd. Usually it's mostly women, and don't get me wrong, this movie passes the Bechdel test a million times over, but which is another good point. That's another tick.
But it is rare to have somebody who's not a king, right?
Yeah.
That's male and mature, and he's got a stupid fucking name. Not everybody has to be named by the hobby that they have. Nominative determinism is strong in this one. Like Merleah. I thought, come on.
He was fun though. He was fun how he was a surfer dude, but 70. So he's still whoa, Merleah, you're gnarly. But he's an old man.
I mean,
I've never seen that before as a pro, and I enjoyed it.
He's a bit, you could imagine Jeff Bridges putting on his best Big Lebowski and... Yeah. Playing this guy. I can't remember what his name is. I'm going to go and check. Because I just remember.
Dude. Oh, this guy.
Rip. His name's Rip.
Yeah.
No, Rip. No. Rip was her father. Break. Yeah. Everybody's named after something to do with surfing. Except for Merleah, who they've dropped a Mer in her name. Which they're inconsistent about, by the way.
Yeah.
People throughout the movie, some people call her Leah and some people call her Merleah, which is I had to triple check.
So I think her ocean name is Merleah, but on land she's just gone as Leah because it's more human.
But why would it? Another example of a film with people with fucking names that don't exist.
Oh, literally everyone in this is called something fucking stupid.
Yeah, we'll get to Kayla and Xylee. Xylee with an X. Okay, sorry, I interrupted you. So you liked that there was a slightly older gent.
Yeah, I liked that there was like a whoa, grandpa. I liked that it passed the Bechdel test, and I initially liked that song at the beginning of the movie. And I liked the like It Follows tablet that one of the girls has. The like, in It Follows, she has that like clamshell, like Kindle,
Yeah.
and it's like cute, and she like reads existential poetry off of it. One of them has like something similar to that she like looks and stuff
this is in a bit of a high tech world though. Like video phone calling is a thing.
On Apple Watch. She basically has an Apple Watch in 2010.
Yeah. Which, there was, I mean, there has been such technologies, but it's just, and a lot of it's for the jokes, isn't it? For the lols.
Yeah.
There's
for tell-lols.
We haven't gone underwater yet, but there's a whole bunch of visual jokes in this, in that vein, which some are funny and some are not.
So I pose a theory to you that this movie is set in the same universe as Shark Tale.
Okay, because of the sort of the world underneath the sea.
Yeah.
And does Shark Tale? So I tell you my biggest gripe, right? And it's a stupid gripe, as most of my gripes are. So in the underwater world, and I know we'll talk about how we get there in a minute, but in the underwater world, there are mer people. Who are living their lives alongside fish and seahorses who interact in consumer activities with them, like putting lipstick on and stuff like that. and seahorses act as they can play musical instruments and stuff like that and be the assistant to the evil queen, right? Which I didn't. And the seahorse is one of the ugliest fucking things I've ever seen. Although seahorses are quite ugly, but if you actually look at them. Anyway, but shellfish are just objects, right? Because we see a shell, a sea snail shell being used as a pram. The aforementioned seahorse uses a conch shell. And I think there's several other examples of where
things that technically are alive and creatures,
things that live under the sea, either are falsely anthropomorphized, is that the right word? I think it is.
Yeah.
Or just used as objects. It'll be and I know that's
cool.
I know that's a bit like how we live our lives. We talk to our dogs and our horses, and cats, but we quite happily eat. An animal that we don't talk to will quite happily eat. So I guess there's a bit of that, but it was a bit weird. But I'm guessing, I can't remember all those puns, all the shop names and stuff like that. But they're all sort of like fish related, or I can't remember what it was. It's like a Bloomingdale's, wasn't there?
Don't look at me.
No, well, no, I won't. But but yes, is that what you're getting at though? That there's this kind of humanish
LA.
world underwater. Yeah, it's LA underwater.
But not even humanish. It's like vapid mid 2000s Paris Hilton LA underwater. So Shark Tale is all about he wants to be famous, he wants to live in a penthouse, they're all about jewelry and rapping and all of this stuff, and this is the world that they also live in, this vapid fashionista LA world, but just under the sea. And it's not a real reflection on Malibu that we've come from either. There's no indication that Malibu is particularly like that. It's just this underwater world is bizarrely modern and shallow. But God. So
but at least it is something, because
I mean,
if you remember
I literally have a note here. Okay, go on.
It's no Mermaidia, right? That's what you were saying.
I do have a note here that says we've seen Barbie as a mermaid before done right, and this is not it. And also just that, like, I was going to write, I guess this movie is harmless, but, like, is it? Is it harmless? Like, what message is it sending out?
I think it's sending all right to be a valley girl was the moral of the story I got from it, because they're all valley girls.
There's no other story. And like, Merleah is one of the most unlikable protagonists that we've come across. I've never seen a Barbie movie that has been so shallowly like, and then the script told us to say this, and then the script told us to go here. There's no motivations for anyone to do anything. There's no real world building. You know, we have the classic shot of like Barbie enters a new world and is like in awe of it. We had it with the Twillabies, and we've had it with the initial Fairytopia. We've had it with the Mermaidia movies. Like, we've had these moments where we Barbie's like, oh, welcome to the magical kingdom, or whatever. And she does the same shit here where she's like, oh wow, oh my god, it's Oceana, amazing. But like, it's the most boringly designed fucking subpar Atlantis shit that I've ever come across. It's dull, it's bland, and then the people that inhabit it are just vapid LA wannabes, and it just I hate it so much.
Would you have liked it
I really dislike it.
Oceana had been razed to the ground and that they all became better people
Just
because it had been,
something, you know? I know it's a Barbie movie. I know. I promise you, me more than anyone brings myself to these movies in a way where I understand where I'm at and who I'm watching and what I'm watching and who it's for. Like, I take that into context more than anyone, I promise you. But there was nothing here for me to cling on to. For the first 15 minutes, that usually is when Barbie makes a point of being like, here are our main characters. Here's why you're going to invest in them, even in this like silly little doll world. Here's why you're going to join us for the next hour and 20 minutes. And they didn't bother doing any of that shit. They didn't bother making us like anyone in this movie for me to give a shit about anyone or what they get up to. You know, like, Merleah is horribly unlikable. She literally comes home and she's like, Granddad, I'm really confused. Today my hair went pink and everybody bullied me, which is so dumb. And then she's like, and then all of a sudden I could breathe underwater. There's like no build up to that. She can just suddenly breathe underwater. And a dolphin talked to me. And then he's like, oh, your mum's a mermaid and your dad's
and she goes, fuck off, and storms out.
Literally, she's like, wow, Granddad, you've hit one too many gnarly waves. Bye, loser. And you're like, are you fucking kidding me? You just spoke to a dolphin and breathed underwater. Like, absolutely nothing inside of you. There's no indication that she even slightly believes him, or that she's doubting herself, or that she's reacting this way out of fear. She literally is just like, ha ha ha, that's dumb, and leaves. And you're like, what the fuck? And I know you have to deny the call to adventure, but she does it twice, if not thrice. In the space of like 8 minutes, the dolphin comes back and is like, hey everyone, and she's like, oh, I'm not seeing this is dumb. And it's like, fucking hell, Barbie, like, why should I give a shit about you going on your adventure? You've not even got any tragic backstory as to why you want to reject this side of you. You've not got, it may sound like I'm asking too much from a Barbie movie, but you say that to fucking Corinne, you know, whose subtext was incredibly heavy in The Three Musketeers, and billions of implications that I could take from it as an adult. There's none of that here. It is as shallow as the waves that they surf.
We've definitely got very different views, because do you know my problem was? How do you get a mermaid pregnant? This is a whole thing I have in the whole mermaid ethos. I get it when the rules say that when they come on land they get legs, yeah? Because I assume with legs comes
a vagina,
and a uterus and all those things, right? Although, because that's not how fish work, basically.
E equals MC vagina.
Yeah, fish just release their eggs into the sea, and the male fish sperms all over them, and then the eggs grow outside the body. And I know
it's a horror movie with mermaids, and they have a slit in their tail that you can fuck. So
that's
maybe
right.
The Barbie mermaids have slits in their tails.
And maybe they're man-eating as well, which explains what happens to Rip, like they are in the lure. There are ways around it. However, it just always bugs me, because I know it's a Barbie movie, but I want to know the mechanics of this. Also, you mentioned, like, her friends just go with it right away. But the way she treated her granddad was fucking just
It was
odd.
insanity. It made no sense. Barbie has never had such bad writing. Like, even in Thumbelina, it wasn't this. At least things kind of made sense. There was vague motivation there. Like, this is just that. So immediately I was like, why should I respect you if you don't respect me? Barbie and a Mermaid Tale 2010.
And
Tell me that.
actually, I might have preferred it if she was more. She's almost not dick enough. Because she's incredibly popular, incredibly talented, blah blah blah. She's obviously had a really loving relationship with her grandfather up to this 5 minutes, clearly. So why would you just suddenly be a dick? Especially when you've literally breathed underwater and you've literally spoken to a dolphin.
Seen it.
Yeah, and you've
could literally seen it. It's
without
so
banging your
stupid.
head. And so why become a little dick now? And other things to be a dick about, and just not that. And her friends just go, "Oh, look, a talking dolphin! Isn't that wonderful?" And one of them goes that, and one of them goes, "This is fucking weird." But both of them I see as perfectly valid reactions. You either go with it or you call it out. Not that you just say, "It's not happening. This is stupid. It's not happening. The world I see."
She made no sense as a character, so I didn't want her to succeed or achieve anything, because I was just like, we've had absolutely no build up until this point. We've no idea who you are, what you want, where you've come from, what you're about. I know your backstory, but like the bare minimum, and like you're not even accepting it in any way. You've never had an inkling that you were different. Like, you've just lived a perfect life up until now. Everything's thrown into chaos, but like not even that. It's not even like Breakfast Club princess gets detention. Like it really is just like such bad writing. Like, it's so bad. And what's so funny to me is that one of the first credits after the title is Elise. I remembered her name. It's like Barbie and a Mermaid's Tale, written by Elise somebody. And I went, wow, like immediate first credit.
Elise
somebody
Allen.
Clearly was like super pumped at themselves for having written an entire Barbie movie. Like, good on you, Elise. Like, congrats for that credit. And now I'm like, you should be ashamed, Elise. You should be begging your name not to be attached to this project.
Do you want to know something? Do you want to know all the movies that Elise has written, Elise Allen?
Go on then.
You're going to be shocked. You're going to be shocked, not shocked, is what's going to happen. Fairytopia.
She must have just needed... Oh, God.
No. You'll get here. Yeah, Fairytopia, Mermaidia. Yep. So both ones we quite like, but she also wrote Magic of the Rainbow. She wrote Mariposa and her Butterfly Fairy Friends, which I barely remember, but I think we thought was all right.
Mate, that's in at number 4.
Yeah, that's a weird one. I don't remember. Oh, maybe it's the stupid title. Christmas Carol. But she also wrote Thumbelina. Oh, she was the screenwriter for Thumbelina and Mermaid Tale and A Fashion Fairy Tale. She's going to be a common... She's right.
So we know that she can give her characters depth and motivation. So why is it lacking here so much? Like, did she just have a fucking day off? Like, did she not give a shit? Did she hand it to her temp for the day? Like, what's going on, Elise? Why is this so bad? Like, what were you distracted by? You know what it feels like? This movie feels like it was made in a lab. So I wonder if she had, like, people breathing down her neck, dampening her creativity to be like, we need it to be like Shark Tale, we need it to be like Shrek, we need it to be this, we need it to hit that, we need to tick this.
And maybe there's something to that, because, you know, this literally is known as a reboot, right? This is a completely different approach. So instead of, you know, in the past... Although, you know, she's written stories that, you know, well, they were kind of franchise makers, weren't they? The Fairytopia franchises. But, you know, we've had historical novels or stories or and Barbie's always existed in a fantasy world. This reboot, we're going to see things a little bit different, and there's none of that anymore. I think they're all contemporary stories, albeit
it's not
with
magical.
Albeit with fantasy elements. I think you'll find they're all set in today or 2010 or whatever. So I imagine there is a rule book that she's having to play by. And whilst I think a lot of I totally understand what you're saying, right? Especially about the character work. But actually there is a lot of... The rest of the movie is very like other movies we've seen before. There is an evil queen character, an evil villain who's taken over a blocked off bunch of people, and her problem is with her heart, absolutely, rather than than genuinely being evil. And Barbie goes on a quest to collect objects that fixes the problem.
It's true.
Yeah. And this
It's
is
true.
that's the story of Mermaidia, right? That's the story of
And maybe that's it though. Like maybe I'm seeing the same stuff, so I'm bored of seeing it, and it's just not being done as well as it was the first time round. So I'm like doubly annoyed.
And that is, I thought it was perfectly fine, but that's not what I needed. Yeah, and I felt like a cover version of Mermaidia with the shitty Thumbelina animation.
Yeah.
Now, I'm quite glad because I looked at the cover of the DVD, which actually is a DVD I didn't... If anyone's keeping track, obviously there's the DVDs that work, the ones that don't work. Yeah. This is one that just wasn't in the selection, but I do have Mermaid Tale 2, which is phenomenally well rated by people, so maybe things get better.
Wow.
But it just feels like an unnecessary cover version. I giggled at the jokes. Oh, did I giggle? At the jokes, whatever the right word for that is. But I wasn't angry about it. Yeah, like I've been angry about a couple of these movies.
I think I feel betrayed, especially coming off the back of the Three Musketeers, which, you know, bless it, it's number one on our leaderboard, so it was a real tough act to follow.
But I think we're coming from different places. You're coming from that last movie was so good. I hope we keep that energy.
That. There was no need to drop that energy. Why drop the ball so horrendously?
Whereas I was thinking that's probably as good as it's going to get, and I was expecting a massive drop off, a Thumbelina, Diamond Castle level of drop off, and this isn't as bad as them, right? It's just it's just fine. To me, which is probably damning it with faint praise. But well, let's dive in. Let's dive in and keep slagging it off, and then it'll.
I don't know that I'm going to be able to help you because it's completely left my memory. Like she goes underwater with the dolphin, and then like some bullshit happens. So we meet these two girls that are like. So she goes underwater. She doesn't get gills, which again for some reason I wanted. I wanted Cronenberg Barbie. But I didn't get it. She can breathe underwater. It's fine. Whatever. I'll allow it, I guess. And she has her legs. So the dolphin needs to get her a tail. We as we say, we meet this like Oceana world. It's like
all right.
Fine.
Stop. Here's another reason. Why the fuck are there dolphin mermaid tails available? Are they like dresses? Is that the idea?
I think it's still like dresses.
Again, have you ever tried?
She's able to use it as a tail.
Yeah, because it is powerful, right? It helps her swim rather than being a fashion accessory. And I'm sorry, if you stick a fucking dress on a fish, it's going to stink. Anyway, that was... I get what they were trying to do, and they did it...
Like,
they were
why couldn't
initially
she just have a tail? Why couldn't, when she goes underwater... I thought she smashed the necklace and she basically discovered that her, like, mum is still alive. Or whatever. And it's that classic thing where they feel that they have a bond with these people that they've never met before just because they're related, which is utterly insane.
Which also is completely forgotten about for 90% of the movie, by the way.
Yeah.
And they act like it's... She remembers it right at the end. But they do something quite... Initially, they're quite clever. They're hiding her. They sort of wrap a bit of cloth around her so it's not noticed. And I thought, that's interesting. And then there's tails for sale that no one needs. Because either they've got tails or they're fish.
Because Oceania is this, like, vapid LA high street where everybody of interest or note owns, like, a store. So, like, the two girls that are going to be her parallel best friends underwater, her, like, mermaid friends, are, for some reason, British.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I noticed that.
My note is, why are they British? Because it's that vibes. It's very much like, oh, Merleah, darling, you look amazing. And it's like, no one called for you, Adele. Like, sit down. Like, what's happening?
What I did like, though... I can't believe I'm the one fucking defending this movie.
I know,
is that... Did you notice that the actual residents of Mermaidia, their eyes are different to Barbie? So they have sort of...
cat's eyes.
Yeah, they're sort of bigger and to the side,
Like
and I thought
they're Olivia Wilde eyes. They all have
they
Olivia
are
Wilde
Olivia
eyes.
Wilde eyes, but it did give a sense that they were not human,
Yeah,
which actually I quite liked. So
it's a nice design.
it was, and it I didn't actually notice it initially, but I noticed it about halfway through the movie, and I thought, oh, hang on a minute, because I was getting confused because there's Hadley and Fallon up top who look very similar to
And names from the 12 Dancing Princesses as well.
they are indeed. You know, and then but I couldn't. You know, then there was Kayla and Xylee, and then there's a fucking and you know we don't just get the fucking talking dolphin. We get a seal called Snouts.
And like, yes, the seal is fucking adorable, but like that's not good enough. You can't just win me over with a seal that licks you, because also the first thing it does is licks her feet, which is like disgusting.
Oh, that was gross. That was like I imagine there's a whole generation of foot fetishists out there thinking that's the greatest thing ever.
This is what Tarantino saw as a child.
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you, and you won't understand this, but my testicles crawled up inside my body when that happened, because when something horrible like that happens, that's how it feels to me. There's a bit of male insight into you. Oh, any men listening, which I don't think there's very many, we know exactly how I feel. The very idea of a seal licking your fucking feet is disgusting.
Honestly, it was like,
and that's why I had thoughts of clubbing it to death, and I thought I won't tell Emily that. But the seal, the fur trade suddenly made a lot of sense. No, it's adorable, but that was weird.
It was weird.
The other thing is, there's not a lot of concession made to the fact that they're underwater. Yeah. So, this is always so in comic books. Obviously, we have the Submariner and we have Aquaman, and that's always been part of what makes it. One's Marvel, one's DC. But what tends to make either of those good is when the writer doesn't just make underwater the same, but with tridents and swimming trunks, and that, well, you wouldn't have chairs. Or things that you wouldn't have electricity. You know, there's things like that there. And there's nothing, other than some puns in the name of the shops, which don't make any sense if you think about it, because they've had no contact with human beings. And there's a huge deal made by that mermaids cannot go on land, right? This is not the Little Mermaid or anything. There's no magic to enable that to happen, apart from there is. You know, one of these things on the quest is deliberately hidden somewhere where a mermaid could never go. Never explained why they're there, but let's not go too far into that. So there's some funny jokes, and so the more we talk, as always, I'm coming more to your way of thinking, is that this just isn't a really well realised world, because you can be smart, yeah, and the best Submarine Aquaman stories sometimes are when that world sort of says, this is why living underwater is different. It's not just about gills and fins and stuff. It's like, just think about the practicality.
And this is the thing, and I get it's a Barbie movie, and I get we're applying ourselves to a different audience. I do understand that. But we've been able to do that in Mermaidia and even vaguely Fairytopia successfully.
Well, Mermaidia just kind of waved its hand around it, and decided. But
it didn't matter. There was enough happening.
The quest was the thing. The characters were the thing. That fucking disgusting turtle creature, that was the thing.
At least it was memorable. I don't remember shit from this movie.
Whereas this felt like the Flintstones underwater.
Yeah.
Without the wit.
Yeah.
So don't bother. Yeah.
Nothing in this movie made me laugh. I literally my notes get so sad. I have a note here that is just caps lock and underlined that says "I'm bored" next to Eris is hot. Like, so that was the extent of my paying attention in this movie. I don't know if this was a Diamond Castle influence, but there are these three characters called the Destinies, and they're essentially the fates of ancient, like the oracles of Delphi, if you will. And I have a note here that says ancient Greece is rolling in its grave, because again, they own like a hair salon. So they're like, oh my God, honey bun, your hair is so beautiful. And then they'll go into a trance and they'll be like, you are the daughter of Karen. You will bring peace to Oceania, but not in that outfit. I'm like, everything about that makes me want to swallow my own tongue.
It does. It was a shame because that was cringe. I didn't really mind the idea of there being 3 fates that can, that's a classic plot device.
It should have been better. It should have been better, though. I should have been excited about that rather than offended.
And there's one bit I'm not going to even try and do the act. Well, I will try and do it. But so the last one, just as they're leaving, the final fate Fury. What's she called? What are they called again? Sorry, they had a name.
They're called like Darley. They're like the Destinies. Is what
Destinies.
They're called.
It sounds like a little pop band. She goes, "Oh, tell Hadley that she's going to be put into the first varsity team." And it's like, okay. And Barbie literally tells her that. Nothing comes of it. What was the point of any of that?
She's like, by the way, just in case the audience didn't believe that we can tell the future or that your friends on land need to know that this shit is magical, tell your friend Hadley that she's going to be entered into varsity. Hadley, you're going to be entered into varsity. What? How do you know that? Can't say. Anyway, bye. Guess what, Barbie? I was entered into varsity. It's like,
does that happen?
No one cares. Yeah. There was a line where she's like, guess what? I made varsity. Because then she's like, which outfit should I wear to varsity? And then the other two come in and they're like, oi, I like the coral-coloured one. I like the salmon-coloured one. We're British for some reason. Like, it's just, ugh.
But we already know that the Destinies are telling the truth.
Exactly.
By the time we get told
it's already
that.
been established too. It's because Eris uses them to like regain power.
Yeah. So it's just pointless and
you wouldn't see this shit in Mermaidia.
It's vacuous. That's what it is. Everything, every interaction that is had with another character in this movie is entirely vacuous and of no depth, breadth, or quality. Oh my God, you're turning me. On the other hand, we have a very standard quest. You've got to get this comb from a place that mermaids can't go. Yeah, the whole dreamfish thing. We'll come back to the dreamfish because that's fucking weird. Yeah. Right? And the necklace that Eris... Have we explained that Eris is like her her aunt? Half aunt.
Eris is her aunt.
And she's taken over...
Like the maid.
Yeah, as always. She's a hot, milfy redhead that owns... that's taken over.
She's just hot. She's like my age. She's hot.
Yeah. She's a hot chick, right? And but she's got fucking issues with what's the word? Self-confidence, in opposite way round.
Self-esteem.
Self-esteem. How can I not know that? So she needs everyone to praise her. Meanwhile, she's got Barbie's mum. Oh, sorry, I keep calling her Merleah. No, I refuse to call her Merleah. That's just not a fucking name. That's just Mer in front of Leah, spelt wrong. So she's making something that keeps them all alive. I can't remember what they call it. It's like...
Yeah, it's like the oh God, like...
heroin. She's basically making heroin that keeps them all alive underwater.
It's like Merleah, like that's what it's called. It's like a spinning web of like shiny shit, and she's like, who loves me? And like she's introduced by this fish applying lipstick instead of watching her spin this weird fabric, and the fish gets rid of her.
That takes photos for the local newspaper again. How does that work? How does that work?
God.
Seriously,
why is it always a puffer fish?
It's always a puffer fish because you always know there's going to be that joke where it puffs up. Yeah,
because it's like in a job that it doesn't like, can't handle the pressure of being a member of the paparazzi. Like, get a new job then. Like, Jesus.
Surely I think that it's a member of the paparazzi, isn't it? Isn't that the joke they make? It's full of puns like that. This section of the film. I mean, they're so bad they're not even dad jokes. That's...
Exactly. They're lame. They're like. Oh God, I hate this movie. Yeah. So. The villain is, again, like we've had so many iconic villains, so many good, memorable villains, so many good performances, and it's nothing against her performance and nothing against her aesthetic. But again, we've seen her before. We've seen her before, done better. That's the problem with this villain.
Oh, again, it's a cover version of a previous film with characters that we've seen. You know, Eris is not too far away from Hot Toyah Wilcox in Diamond Castle, right?
Yeah.
God, this is... if I like when I'm dead and this is all discovered, right? And there's gonna be, well, he had a real interest in Barbie characters. But they are sexualized, right? I'm not just seeing this.
Oh, completely.
Yeah,
they're made to be pretty dolls to sell to children.
Indeed. Not middle-aged men, but that's the point of this podcast, isn't it? So there's a quest, and we've got to go and do it, and we'll go and see some things, and you know, this is exactly the plot of Mermaidia. That's exactly what they do. They go through areas of the sea which are utterly unpopulated by anything in the background. There's a stupid fucking thing where she surfs underwater. What the fuck was that
and
about?
Like they had to obviously bring in her surfing aspect because that was the whole
I get it. But why couldn't she have just surfed on top of water?
I also didn't give a shit because this is a girl that has been dubbed Queen of the Waves, has her own theme tune / anthem that her friends have literally made up like steps, dance moves to, and then decides, because the commentator for some reason starts picking up on the fact that her hair is turning pink after being affected by the sea salt water, decides to dive into dive into the waves. She's like winning a competition and then decides to like forfeit it because one guy is like, whoa, her hair is turning pink, that's crazy. So she's like, oh, fuck it. So she doesn't even have a competitive spirit that overcomes anything. She's just like, what? My hair is pink. Better die. Like, guess I'll just die now. Like, so I'm not on board with her surfing as a thing because I'm just like, well, you clearly don't care about it that much if you let a tiny thing like that in the first 5 minutes throw you off, like... So why should I give a shit about it now? I don't care about you, Merleah. You suck.
Oh, you don't like Merleah, do you?
No.
No. So there's the quest to get this comb, which isn't what I'd call a comb, but I understand that sort of hair ornament is known as a comb. I get it. Don't worry. I'm not that out of touch.
Yeah.
And then they have to go and find this thing called a dreamfish.
A dreamfish.
Which appears to be some sort of... Was the dreamfish or the comb the bit where Snouts deliberately puts itself into trouble to get... That's the comb, isn't it? Where that's all smashed up.
Do not ask me. I spent this movie thinking, maybe I should watch Slumber Party Massacre next.
Yeah, all right. So I think they get the comb with the help of Snouts. Then they find these dreamfish things, and they say, "Oh no, there's no such thing as a dreamfish." And then one comes and says,
"Dreamfish,
I'll be with you whenever you need me." Which you think, oh, the dreamfish is going to be like the plot fixer. But don't worry, they go somewhere completely fucking different with the dream fucking fish. You've also not mentioned that Eris has a magical Eris has this magical power to make red whirlpools that make people disappear.
Yeah, a little tornado. She puts you in a little red tornado and it takes you straight to her prison cells, which I think we never see. Or maybe we did see, but
that's where the mum
downloading Shudder.
That's where the mum's being held, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
And the mum is getting tired and the quality of heroin that she's making isn't good and it's getting cut with other stuff and apparently that's affecting them all, but that's never very clear as well.
It's like shit Breaking Bad underwater.
Yeah, we're just told that twice. We're not actually shown there's any evidence it's hurting anybody.
This is a bad movie.
Also, fish don't need that shit anyway, so it would have only affected the mer people.
And like, why in a... Like, again, I go back to when we were first introduced to the villain, and the way we come across the fact that she has these little tornadoes is because a fish is applying lipstick and she pulls her out of the crowd and she's like, how dare you not pay attention to me, and throws her into one of these whirlpools. But it's like one fish in a sea of mermaids, a literal sea of mermaids. Why not do it to a mermaid? That's more threatening. Why are you trying to integrate this like animal hybrid? Like, why does the seal act like a dog, but the fish is like a person that's like, oh, darling, no, don't even worry about it. Of course I was paying attention to you. I don't even mind.
And yeah,
it's my new
and
colour.
why,
like,
why a clam?
people,
why are shells just used as prams? It's
like, what?
it's snails. Sorry, just used as prams. There's a real inconsistency. Anyway, they get back.
crazy.
I've decided to take over the storytelling for
please
this
do.
episode. So they get back because the last thing they have to get is the necklace. I mean,
Yes.
I don't know where this fucking prophecy's come from. I have no idea why all these things have to add up together, right?
Exactly.
They don't
Hair of
work
gold is
together.
born.
It's just
The
it's
cow
just
is white as snow.
so the comb actually provides nothing, right? The dreamfish we'll come to the dreamfish in a second, and the necklace which is the heiress is wearing doesn't. It just makes all that does. It means that Merleah has to be near Eris to force the final
It's so
confrontation.
fucking stupid though, because like in order to get that necklace, she's hiding at the back of the crowd, and Eris is like, "Be on the lookout for a weird hybrid girl. She's half mermaid and half human." And the one merman in the entire ocean is like, "Oh, that sounds fucking gross."
No, there's loads of them. They all look like Luke Wilson. There's only one model that they've got. Every single one of them looks like a young Luke Wilson. It's really fucking weird.
But he's
and
like,
they've all got gormless looks on their face.
Yeah. They're all terrible. Like, at least there's no Ken in this movie, I guess.
No,
like,
no.
There's no official love interest, but like,
I mean,
whatever.
if in the live action movie Luke Wilson has a part as a merman, that will be quite a fucking
Perfect
callback.
casting.
However,
But
yeah. So
he's like, "Oh, that's gross," and then she's like, "Hey, I mean," and like again, like that's just bad writing. Like I hate that kind of shit. I know we're in a Barbie movie, but she usually doesn't fall into these tropes like this. And she's at the back of the crowd trying to be quiet and trying to not be seen and trying to not get caught. And then she's like, "Hit it, girls!" And they do their like fucking song for the third time this movie, which again, All for One came in like 3 times into the Three Musketeers, but it was earned and it was good and it was righteous and I was empowered. Whereas by the time they did the final like, "She's the queen of the waves," or whatever the fuck this is, I was like, fucking kill me.
Do you know I didn't even realise it was the same song? It's that.
Yeah, it's the same song. They've written one song. They've written one song for this movie and they bring it out like 3 or 4 times and they perform it to Eris to be like, "Oh, you're the queen of the waves," and she's taught the little dance moves to her like backing British mermaid friends. And she does it in an attempt to get the necklace.
There's a fish with twin decks that we've met twice.
There's the shark tail. It's like Will Smith fish. It's like Will Smith fish on some decks with some headphones. That's like and you're just like, 2010 called it. Wanted everything that sucked about it back. Like, stop dating this movie so
and
much.
Then it all fucking fails anyway because it's stupid. And Eris chucks Barbie down one of these whirlpool things that she can create, which is why I had to bring it up that they exist. And then Barbie's going, "Oh no, I'm getting dragged away to nothingness. Oh wait, Dreamfish, come and help me." And the Dreamfish turns up, right?
Dreamfish.
Except it's not, because the Dreamfish goes, "Have a word, and I'll just make all this end, and you can just go back home. You won't be a mermaid. You won't be." And you think what you're thinking is that this is all about temptation. This is going back into Genesis, right, and all that. The Dreamfish is obviously tricking her. You know, and actually what she should do is fail this and learn a lesson.
At least look into the Bible for inspiration.
But what
Barbie
it actually is,
Tale.
the Merleah goes, "Oh, you could do that." She thinks about it for a second and says, "Hang on a minute. I've gone too far. That would be fucking ridiculous." However bratty I was, no fucker's going to do that and let all these people do.
Lesson.
But it wasn't even that. It wasn't like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's a stupid idea, Dreamfish. At which point she becomes a real mermaid with superpowers, right? And the Dreamfish goes, well, I'm not doing this. What the fuck's this about? And it's like, well, what was the fucking point of you, Dreamfish? Because
Literally, what was the fucking point?
because you are actually an evil creature. Yeah, that's my view of it. If this was another movie,
or just like neutral, one of those like I am neither good nor evil. I just am kind of creatures.
It's like the fucking Wishmaster, where it says, "I'll grant you a wish, but obviously be careful what you wish for, because I'll
be careful what you wish for.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you literally." So the Dreamfish, although is sort of suggested to be some kind of magical creature that can cast wishes and things like that, it's not. But it's not really anything. That's the problem I have with it. So there is no lesson to be learned. She just fucking says she just wavers for 33 microseconds and then does the right thing. And it's so far along in the movie, she was never not going to do the right thing. If the Dreamfish had offered her this within 5 minutes of being
the right thing, then it would have been a better movie.
Well, it'd have been an interesting movie that might have got
I'd
banned.
have been like, whoa, Elise!
So basically, she comes out with superpowers.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say she whips Eris's ass. There's a bit of, oh, I know that you're a good person, really, and you just, because it turns out that Eris is the only person in the royal family that can't make heroin. That's the whole thing. Oh, she remembers. I'm sorry, I forgot that she's remembered that her mum is being held underground, which she hasn't mentioned for at least an hour. And then shit happens, and let's face it, let's rush to the end. Eris gets defeated down one of her own fucking whirlpools. Again, couldn't she have just stopped it, being that that's her fucking magic power? Anyway, never mind. And Barbie goes back on land again. The end. And she wins a trophy.
I'm gonna miss Earth too much, so I want my legs back. And she's like, darling, of course, that makes sense. You've lived there for 16 years.
I've got a necklace
that will make
you.
Here.
I've got a necklace that will make you human again. Which
you'd
have thought. So. But why would that necklace exist? Because Barbie was a human. That was the reason the Queen took her away, so that she didn't have fish legs. Only some magic has done it the other way. Fish legs. Fish legs. A tail, sorry. It's like fish fingers, isn't it?
Or the crab sticks.
Yeah. But then why does this necklace exist, which could take a mermaid's tail away? Because there wasn't a reverse. None of this makes sense.
Earned her tail.
Is this like
all of the other stuff in Mermaidia? She earned her tail.
And in Fairytopia,
she earned her wings.
Well, and I think
to earn things.
I think we had a bit of a problem with that as well. That they were given for no good
Fundamentally,
reason.
The overarching thing is a bit problematic, but at least within the context of the story, they felt earned.
Yeah.
To an extent. Here, it's just and now the plot says that we need to sell some dolls with the mermaid tail, and don't get me wrong, I see it, and that's why it annoyed me as a plot point, because I had a beach Barbie who was beautiful and had glitter in her hair and a beautiful pink bikini with gold triangle on the cleavage, and she had a plait in her hair that was orange and pink, and when I held it, it disappeared, the colours disappeared, and then when I changed the temperature of the room, the colours came back. And it was majestic and beautiful and gorgeous. And so when her hair started going pink, I was like, oh my God, yes. Give me a Barbie that when I dunk her head in the bath, streaks of pink will come in her hair. There's nothing more magical to a fucking 7-year-old girl. Please.
Yeah. I think I remember
Yeah.
that colour changing stuff. It probably wasn't just in Barbie. It was very 20.
But they made it into a really bizarre plot point where it was but my hair though. And don't get me wrong, I also understand the tragedies of a 16-year-old girl in Malibu who's probably
who suddenly looks really cool. Yeah, that's the thing.
It looks really fucking cool.
Yeah, that's
millions in a salon for it.
I'm going to
back. It's not like she actually grew gills.
No, that's right, or scales. I'm going to stank like a fish. And everyone squeezed their liver for oil to be healthy. Right. Anyway, I'll move on. I'm going to back up your thought, because you know my favourite website, the barbiemovies.fandom.com. Well, there's an element on the front page here called development. And I'm going to read you the original plot, which obviously was published somewhere. And
oh my god!
No. As I read it to you, you'll realise the plot isn't much different, but there are some things which makes this your designed by committee thing come true. When Marissa, played by Barbie, discovers she's half mermaid, she must help the citizens of Atlantia by rescuing their queen, her mother. Marissa and her underwater friends have to complete 3 tasks in order to release her mother from the clutches of the evil heiress who longs to rule Atlantia. So you'll notice that Barbie's name and the place where they are has been changed, which is weird, right? There's no... Yeah. They've...
It's like they stumbled across copyright or something.
Well, it's that, but I think what it means is there were people in the room saying, "Oh, I don't know about Marissa, but she's a mermaid. Can't her name be Marissa or something like that?" And then they turned into Merleah. And I'm an Atlantia as well from Oceana. I mean, Oceana is actually a worse name because that's
at least Atlantia is like a thing.
Yeah, and there's no
and then there's that implication of like perhaps the mer people and the humans were once a united kingdom until it fell into the sea because humans, I don't know, climate change or environment.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think you're aiming
as an adult, you could add layers to it.
Yeah.
You could to the Three Musketeers that they're not allowing here. They're just like, no.
No, but I think the fact that the general story is the general story. That's why I'm just going with it. We've seen a lot of this. We're going to see a lot of this. It's reasonably okay, although now I've slagged it off for the last half an hour. I realise that maybe it wasn't okay, and I was on a fucking Three Musketeers high, like you were. But it just talks to me that she may have been the screenwriter, but yeah. And I think all the films will have been. You know, they're not going to say, "Here's Barbie dancing in the fucking Folie Bergère" or whatever. Is that a thing?
Why not?
Is the Folie Bergère? What's the red?
Folie Bergère.
Is that where they can and stuff?
The Moulin Rouge. Do you mean the Moulin Rouge?
I do mean the Moulin Rouge, but what is a Folie Bergère? Where have I got that from?
It's from 9. The Folie Bergère. Folie Bergère.
It's Follie Bergère, and that is a dance. I'm sure that's a place where women of ill repute dance or something like that. Doesn't matter.
I think it's like the Judi Dench song with like the feathers, right?
Yeah. Like the dance. Yes, the dance with the feathers. You know, like a stripteasy kind of thing. You're thinking like Calendar Girls kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Anyway, yes, I do mean the Moulin Rouge, the Red Windmill. That's exactly what I meant. That they're never going to allow that to happen, right? Barbie falls on hard times. She
or like it's
she gets
Barbie in the dollhouse and there's a sequel. It's just to join them.
I imagine Barbie in Seattle during the 1990s. She falls into the grunge scene, ends up as a heroin addict, and it's really sad. You know, that would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Repo the Genetic Opera.
I mean,
Barbie.
I mean, obviously. There is that Barbie, that movie done with dolls, isn't it? Where it is a bit dark, that we will look at one day as a slight, once we're tired of these films, there are other places Barbie exists in that would be kind of in, we could do Toy Story or something as well, but less dark, quite dark. But yeah, I think it just talks to me that this is, Mattel have a big interest in this, and they're limited to what they're going to do. And actually, what we want, that Mermaidia thing that sold 1 million DVDs, and 5 million dolls, but looks a bit dated now because it was from 7 years ago. Yeah. Let's just redo that, and let's do it with Valley Girls. And I don't think this is going to be the last time we suffer this.
And at least you're right. I was completely forgetting that it was. I think I was just so excited for the freshness that had come from the movie before that I didn't allow myself to enjoy the tropes that I've previously perfectly allowed. It was a good quest movie. It did have an alright villain. Like, it was fine. But I was just like, why are we going back to this but worse?
Yeah. And the reason is the last one was 7 years ago, and the audience for these movies is really, I don't know, 6 to 9 year old girls, something like that. So there's a whole brand new set of 6 to 9-year-old girls to sell this to, and to watch this on, I think this was on Nickelodeon or something like that, within 6 days of it being released on DVD. That's the idea. And you want the repeat views, and then you want to go, Mum, Dad, I really want a Merleah doll with its changing hair. And that's why that's a plot point, because changing hair stuff. Yeah, and changing hair
why
was
make
a
it
thing.
a bad plot point? Why
Because
make it something that's
it's
negative?
a movie by committee. It's a thing that's been shoehorned in. I wouldn't be surprised if, we'd been a bit hard on the screenwriter, but I wouldn't be surprised if I'll just fucking stick that in there. Yeah. Because I'm not interested in it. So, yeah, I mean, a weird movie because I ended up having to do the fucking plot description. A weird movie because we've seen this film before and better. Either as Shark Tale or as Fairytopia.
And I fucking do not get it. Do not get your words crossed. I fucking loathe Shark Tale.
Oh, but it's better. But it's better than this. It's better than this.
But it has some things that I quote every single day of my life in it.
Yeah. But you're not
whale watching dolphin.
Yeah, stop it.
Like, not good.
Stop it, because that's called camp.
My sister, she had a baby. True story. Like, it's funny and my sister loves it. But, like, it's a trash movie.
But I'll posit it's a better movie than this, right? It's better structurally together than this, and it's what it's trying to be. I think you're.
And Angelina Jolie fish is okay.
Yeah. So right, we come to the conclusion it's perfectly fine as well.
It's fine.
Yeah. So where does it go on our list?
Right, so initially I'd marked this on Letterboxd as 1.5 stars, which would place it between Barbie and the Rockers Out of This World and Barbie Presents Thumbelina. But upon reflection, I feel like I can bump it above Rockers Out of This World and under Nutcracker. I don't know how you feel. I don't know if you want to be more lenient, because above Nutcracker is the Island Princess, which...
Oh, I see. I really liked Island Princess. I know
exactly.
That's another... Well, I didn't...
it was fine.
I allowed you to...
It was imaginative and it was different.
Yeah. And I allowed you to talk me down a bit on that one. It's fucking leagues better than Thumbelina. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
Thumbelina is, to me, the low point of this franchise. It's better than Diamond Castle because it didn't make
there's
me.
Two under Thumbelina.
Yeah. What?
Thumbelina, Diamond Castle, and Magic of the Rainbow are our lowest 3.
I would happily put it one above Thumbelina. What would be above it then?
Rockers Out of This World.
Yeah, no, I think we've underplayed that one. So
I agree. I was looking at Rockers Out of This World and I was like, hey, she did go to space. And that was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
And there were original songs that weren't just the same song played over 4 times.
And I do think, maybe when we get to episode 25, we might just want to have to see if there's a little jiggle around we can do, because I think we've I think we've been mean to that. So what's above the original?
So currently in a descending order from number 1,
let's do it.
Three Musketeers, Barbie is the Princess and the Pauper, Barbie Fairytopia, Mermaidia, Barbie Mariposa, Barbie of Swan Lake at number 5, doing so well, Barbie Fairytopia in at number 6, Barbie and the Magic of Pegasus at 7, Barbie and the 12 Dancing Princesses at 8, coming in very close to it, Barbie and a Christmas Carol at 9, The Barbie Diaries at a solid 10, Barbie as Rapunzel in at 11, Barbie as the Island Princess at 12, Barbie and the Nutcracker at 13, Barbie and the Rockers Out of This World at 14, in new today, Barbie in a Mermaid Tale at 15, then we're into Barbie Presents Thumbelina at 16, Barbie and the Diamond Castle at 17, and Barbie Fairytopia Magic of the fucking Rainbow in at 18.
Yeah, I'm all right with that. I especially I do feel that the Barbie Diaries has got a higher position just because of me, so I'm willing to let you drag a few down.
And I look at it and I'm like, Barbie as Rapunzel was solid. It was that 3 Colours trilogy, and like Barbie as the Island Princess was fresh and fun and funky, but like it did have its big problems, and we do have to take them movie by movie.
We do.
And Barbie and a Mermaid Tale is just something we've seen before, but better.
But so that's the thing. We've already seen this movie before, and it was done better. Island Princess also has the best dress so far, by the way.
Oh my god!
Let's not forget that.
I just choked on how good the dress was.
And this movie, despite saying, "Oh, these dresses are amazing," there's nothing in terms of the art direction.
There's a whole like fashion.
Oh, I love that.
Sorry.
I've made that my ringtone. It's the best sneeze ever.
Oh my god. Despite having a whole like catwalk style, like she's trying out all of these different tails, and they're like, "Work it, girl! You look so good." Except, yeah, sorry, they're British, so they're like, "Work it, girl! You look so good, babes." There is nothing visually memorable. No animals, no dresses, no tails, no cities, no people, no landscapes. Nothing about this stands out visually to me.
Yes.
Whereas Barbie and the Island Princess, I can see the jungle, I can see the elephant with eyes, I can see the conservatory where they all get poisoned, I can see the dress. Like, there's so much visually that I remember that sticks with me.
And
Barbie and the Rock is out of this world, the outfit's there, but here...
I know, end of the day, do I want, and does alternate universe where Stephen is a 9-year-old girl want to bother my parents to buy a doll from this movie? No, not really. No. There's nothing about it. And do you remember we've done episodes, we've gone off to eBay or we've gone off to the Mattel site and had a look at what was available, or you've dragged things from your memory. I don't even, other than the eyes, right? The only cool bit of design in this entire movie, even that dolphin looks fucking stunted. And I don't really understand the point of it, why there is a talking dolphin that just has no agency whatsoever about anything. And only thing it's done is that someone has told me a saying today that I didn't know existed called they said, "Oh, you're a dolphin shaver," and it made me think of Zuma. And then I had to ask, what the fuck's a dolphin shaver? And they said, do you know what a dolphin shaver is?
No, I don't. Is it going to be weird?
No. Have you ever seen a furry dolphin? So that's because dolphin shavers are really good at their job. And that's the only reason I'll ever remember this film is I watched a film with a talking... I saw a film at the same day that someone said I was a dolphin shaver and I had to ask what it was. I thought they were being rude and it was suggesting I was like fiddling with dolphins or something. But no. And now you're going to use that, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you will.
There's a million other phrases that have the same sentiment before I would get to dolphin shaver.
It's up there now. It's in your head.
Picture on the internet of the shaved bear. It's like, that's not anything humanity needed to see. I was happy not knowing.
Yeah. But anyway, that's the only reason I remember that. But yeah, we haven't even talked about Zuma the dolphin, who just... Oh, why today? Why today are you going to bother Merleah, right, with rescuing it? There's no reason... Today is a special day.
It's bad. It's so bad. And then when she's first introduced, one of the friends is like, "You didn't tell me she was glittery," and she's like,
"Yeah, because that's the thing."
It's a compliment. It's a statement. It's like, "Hey kid, go buy the glittery pink dolphin," and you're like, "Could you be more fucking transparent with your marketing?" It's like Wayne's World, where they're like, delicious pizza or whatever.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? It's like, fuck off.
Yeah, it was. I haven't even bothered to. To have a look. I wasn't as intrigued as I was by the interactive cat or anything. If there is a fucking plush dolphin and it's sparkly,
I'm sure there is, and there's probably a plush seal as well.
Yeah, but that's so there's another problem. Seals and dolphins, there's tons of plushies of them. Go to any fucking aquarium or water world or anything like that, you'll be flooded by them, and they're just not. They are kind of cute when they're in a furry, plushy kind of way. But have you seen a dolphin could fucking eat your arm? And
they've got teeth.
Yeah, and
so long and thanks for all the fish.
And
the first revamp. That's what we're in, 2010 to 2015.
Yeah.
So, thank God, William Lau takes over as director for the next two, which is Barbie: A Fashion Fairy Tale, which I did see a trailer for, and Barbie: A Fairy Secret. So that'll be our next two movies.
But you can see that they're both contemporary, but still trying to have a little bit of fantasy about them.
Sort of magic.
And in phase 3, it's all Barbie as gymnast, Barbie as horse rider, Barbie as fireman, that kind of thing. So we've got this phase of, I think it's about 9 or 10 films that are in this sort of weird. It's not weird. It's just a thing. It's
fine. I need to just adjust my mindset to the modern era. I just love a genre piece.
But, when I saw the cover, I thought the animation was going to be a million miles away from what we're used to. Yes, this is more like Thumbelina than it is
Nutcracker.
No, the one we liked, Three Musketeers. But that's because they're making 2 a year, and I'm guessing there's even though it's the same studio, I'm guessing different teams are making the movie. So you would expect every other one to look like, alternate movies look similar because possibly the same people are making them. So I am going to be interested to see what what do you say it is again?
The next one.
Fashion
Barbie,
Fairy Tale.
Fashion Fairy Tale.
Oh, she's not in. It's just interesting.
Colon. A fashion.
Yeah, there's no colon in the page I've got, but that's because it would break the code if it had it. But yes, okay. Fine, perfectly fine. It's still at the bottom of the list.
Oh my god.
But I thought it was going to be a bit more middling. But
Kelly Sheridan's not here.
Not here where? Today?
She was here today. She's not here next week. Diana Carina as Barbie.
Oh, I noticed that. Yes, I did notice that. But is she back there for
Fairy Secret? No, she's not in a Fairy Secret. Oh my god, have we had to say goodbye? Oh my god, no, she's gone. Barbie's gone.
She's
back she's back to be Merleah.
Yes,
in Mermaid Tale 2.
Yeah, that's just where I just found her. Interesting.
But otherwise, okay, and then she's back after that.
Just to talk, as I say, I didn't have the DVD for this one. Are there any?
I'm running out of DVDs, so I have a big old box set that I bought 10 years ago.
I'm just wondering if there are any bloopers. There are. Yeah, no. There's a whole bunch of bloopers that neither of us have seen.
Oh. Yeah, because it doesn't automatically play them.
No, so they're DVD extras in more Mermaid fun. Let me. Oh, do you want the trivia?
Yeah,
go on, Em. Let's just stretch this out. It's the last movie that begins with Mattel Entertainment. Oh. And it is the first movie using a different animation interface, even though I said it looked very similar to Thumbelina. So this is the first Barbie film-stroke movie released in the spring that outsold the one released in the fall. So it sold more than Fashion Fairy Tale, which is interesting because the ones in the fall normally, because they fall around Christmas time, they're probably more likely to fall into somebody's Christmas stocking. So, the surfer before Merleah in the beginning has red hair and wears a purple top with green shorts. Yeah, this may be a reference to Ariel. Yes.
Oh, I fucking doubt it. That's some idiot just being like, doi doi. I'm trying to.
Yeah, I
literally anything.
A doi doi, like it.
I really like. It's fair enough where it's landed, but like I could not get on board with it, and yeah, I'm gonna try and grapple back my optimism for Barbie and a Fashion Fairy Tale.
I think what we have to accept is this is.
New age.
Think about it, right? So we've had the Marvel movies, right? And then they did them. Disney bought Marvel, and now we have the TV shows, right? And some of those TV shows have been rough, some have been really good. I think, but they're never going to be the same as the first movies, just the price of. So I think we're going to have to accept we're in a bit of a budget world now.
Yeah.
And it's a different management in charge, yeah. And we'll have to reset expectations. I fully expect a couple of them to be fantastic. I just expect most of them to be like this and where we've been before.
Yeah, to be like 3 stars.
Yeah. I think I might have to go into my letterbox and change my rating though, because I think I gave it 3 stars and said it was all right. Not as bad as I was expecting, but as said before, I came at this from the cover and it just looks fucking awful. So. There we go. So.
Oh, man.
Everyone.
Tune in next week.
Tune in next week. Like, follow, subscribe, join our Discord. Come and talk about
join our Discord. Find us on Twitter. You'll find all the links. Come chat. Come chat about Barbie.
Please. Yeah. Because we think we're weird.
You, mate. I mean, speak for yourself. Oh, right. I proudly announce what I do.
Well, so do I. I've got the T-shirt.
Woo-woo!